On today's show, I'm going to be talking with Josh Schaefer. He is both the editor-in-chief and head videovore of Lunchmeat magazine, which is both a print magazine. It's now a website. He's got a little empire going. He's kind of like I wouldn't say, the mad guru of VHS, but then again, maybe I would. I think he's one of the people that has really fueled the vintage VHS collecting frenzy, and now it's kind of morphed into things like drive-in VHS screenings and free gigantic video rental stores within Alamo Draft House. And I'm sure we're going to uncover a lot more, but I just want to say I've been really excited to talk to him. So welcome to the show, Josh.
Well, thank you so much. That was indeed a glowing intro. Thank you so much. I'm blushing. Wow.
I'm one of these people who, hate to hear, oh, what do you do for a living? What do you do? The elevator pitch. But I bet when you get that, you do so many things. How do you answer the elevator pitch question?
Well, what do I do for a living? I mean, VHS tapes. I don't know. It's changed a lot in the past couple of years. I started working for Alamo, like you mentioned in the intro, but that's stopped. The Video Vortex has stopped because of the pandemic. So right now I'm just doing the Lunchmeat, man, and it's really wonderful. I'm really happy about it. So,
well, even if all you did was just the Lunchmeat, that would be, more than all of us do. Because you're immersed in it, and I'm gonna put you on the spot. I'm gonna read a little bit of your about page from the website, not the whole thing.
Oh no.
But you probably wrote this 10 years ago, and you probably haven't looked at it since.
No, I actually just wrote that again. I wrote an about page about 10 years ago when we first started the website, and then I had a relaunch of my website maybe like a few months ago, and I had to rewrite that. So this is pretty fresh. So let's hear it. Yeah.
Okay. And by the way, the website looks really good, so you did a nice job with that.
Oh, thank you very much.
Okay, Lunchmeat is your number one destination for the appreciation, celebration, and preservation of VHS and video store culture. We officially pressed play in the VHS summer. I like how you combine VHS with words that begin with S, of 2008 with our first print issue of Lunchmeat magazine, and we've been spreading the rewind inclined word ever since. It is our express mission to keep VHS love alive in modern times. How's that for a mission statement?
Well, thank you so much, man. Wow, that was really nice.
Well, what I want to know is, back in 2008, when you first launched Lunchmeat, there was not this frenzy with VHS collecting. There was obviously people collecting, but, the documentaries hadn't come out. That great documentary, Adjust Your Tracking, which really jump-started it. But you were, years before all that. I mean, you were in Adjust Your Tracking.
Yeah, I actually helped produce it, kind of. So I was involved with it. Yeah, a little bit. Sure.
So it's almost like you got the ball rolling, then all these people caught up with you and started doing these VHS swaps, the documentaries. So tell me, for the people out there who can't remember 12 years ago, much less 12 months ago, what was the climate for VHS collecting back then?
It was beautiful. It was an amazing time. I mean, you can still go to flea markets and Goodwills and find like really, really cool tapes. I mean, not that you can't now, you still can, but I mean, it's definitely different. But it was fun. I mean, like you would go out to a flea market and you'd find like, 10 tapes for $1, or like, a whole box for $5. Like people really wanted to get rid of these tapes, and I don't think there was any discretion involved. I think there's a lot of discretion involved with VHS collecting now, and people are like, oh, this tape's worth a lot, and this tape's worth nothing, and this is a rat tape, or this is a common tape, or this is a hot tape, or this or that. But I mean, all tapes were equal. When you went to a flea market, and it was fun to look through them and get great deals and find gold. And the wild was very different, but it was plentiful, and I think it was a high time for gathering VHS and being involved with that sort of culture, for sure. Yeah.
And you were, relatively young were you in like your early 20s when you started this?
Yeah. So I was about 24. I don't know. Yeah, I was 20. No, like 22, 23, 24, somewhere around there. Yeah.
Because I'm curious, because obviously when you were a little kid, there was still VHS out there, and probably even
Yeah,
into
I grew
your
up on it. Yeah.
yeah. But you kind of had a slightly different perspective than say the people the generation before you. And I'm just always curious about that because now the millennials or Gen Y, to them it's all retro. It was discontinued before they were born. You're kind of in that phase where you remember the family VCR. I can remember just being practically out of high school when this hit. So there's different memories of it, and so much of this is tied into nostalgia. Like, what was
Mhm.
your nostalgia for VHS?
I don't know if it was nostalgia yet. I think it was just finding cheap movies, finding cool new movies for really cheap. You could find a movie that you never seen before for a quarter. And
Mhm.
when you're such like a film fan or a cinephile or however you want to really like lay it out there, is you want to see new stuff, like new to you. And I had a
Mhm.
predilection for weird stuff from the 70s and 80s and early 90s, and that was all on VHS. That's how those movies were communicated in mass,
Mhm.
so, and it was easy to pick them up. I mean, it I guess it's very nostalgic now, it's 15 years ago. So it's kind of chilly to think about, but yeah, for sure. That's a thing.
And now that that damn Goodwill is caught on, you never see a vintage horror movie on their shelves anymore.
On where?
Goodwill.
Oh man, well the thing is, I think it's religious influence. I think it's cultural influence. They don't want to put out anything gory or weird or that has
Mhm.
like a slashed face on the front or like any kind of like sexualization on the front or anything like that. And they definitely pick that stuff out, and don't put it out on the floor.
Don't you think part of it is just the employees in the back hoard it?
Right now, yeah. I mean, if I know friends that work at thrift stores and Goodwills, and it's definitely an aspect. It's definitely something that happens. I mean, think about it this way: if you or me or anybody that's listening that's into VHS tapes was working at a Goodwill and you saw a copy of like lunch meat come in, or you saw a copy of street trash come in, or the gifted or anything like that, you'd be like, I want to keep this. I'm not going to put it out on the floor. Maybe you have a kind soul that would put it out on the floor, but there's restrictions and things like that, and there's definitely personal taste, and
Mhm.
there's definitely way more interest now and way more awareness. Yes.
Very much so. Well, I want to get a little into, your video vortex phase and what you've done with Alamo, Draft House. And it's
Oh
really
boy,
cool. You've
yeah.
made all these great alliances. But I first just want to go over, the video swap meets, and you
hmm
have arranged those. I don't know, at what point did you like start arranging your own VHS swaps?
It's hard to say. I think, man, the first VHS swap, I have never thought about that question. Severed's probably one of the first things that was like a real big landmark for me. And Earl Kiss was doing that at Sherman Theater, and those were really cool. Those were really great gatherings and really great fun times for tape heads. So many tapes, and we're showing movies and stuff. 2009, 2010, somewhere around there.
Okay. Because when I first, had contact with you, I knew of you and, went to your website, but I was putting together a horror VHS swap in Seattle. And I don't
hmm
know how your name came up, but it was just kind of like, oh, you got to go to Josh Schaefer because he's kind of the king of all this. And you were very generous. You actually donated some magazines and some stickers and little novelties that we had there. But I just kind of connected you with that, and it's kind of funny. Crypticon Seattle. We
No, I
put it.
remember Crypticon. Yeah, that's so cool. That's
Oh
such a
yeah.
gnarly thing. Yeah, hell yeah.
So so I approached the heads of that and said, "Hey, do you guys have a VHS swap?" And I was surprised that they didn't because they have so many vendors there. And I thought,
hmm hmm
wouldn't it be cool to have just a very specific vendor room just with vintage VHS? And it worked. And what was so cool about it, and this is what I really want some of your thoughts on, you can
So
theorize
did you head that up, the Crypticon VHS swap part? That's really
that for
cool
that
because
first year. Yeah.
that's old school. Yeah, that's a long time ago. That's cool, Kelly.
What's so funny is I think we put it together like in a week. I mean,
Yeah,
there's that, last
it's not that
minute.
hard to do. You just get some tape heads in a room and put tapes on the table, and you just talk. I mean, that's the essence,
Exactly.
right?
That's
Yeah,
really all it is, getting the key people in. We only got to do the last day, the Sunday, and you think, oh, Sunday tail end, everyone's
I bet it
gone.
was enough though. I bet it was a good time.
Oh,
Yeah.
people liked it. But because all the rooms were booked, we only got that room because the big like Saturday night party was in that room and they, dismantled it.
Yeah,
So we
yeah,
got
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
like the sticky floor
The
from the wild
scraps, the
party.
VH scraps. Yeah.
But the thing that really struck me was once I put the word out and said, hey, we need people fast. And I started getting these recommendations. And that's when I learned who are the cool collectors in town.
That's cute. I love
And
that.
and that rapport you get, I thought, wow, these are really cool people. And we ended up doing several more. We did a few at Scarecrow Video in Seattle. And it kind of like
Mm-hmm.
snowballed. And I kind of
Mm-hmm.
realized that this is the way to get in touch with people is face to face. You can sell on eBay, you can go to chat rooms and
Yeah,
Discord,
yeah.
but
Chat
what do
rooms.
you
I love that.
chat rooms? Oh,
They are
that's
chat
me.
rooms, I guess. I guess that's what Facebook is a big ass chat room. But yeah.
See, I'm still talking in 1990s internet
Well,
terms.
it makes sense. It's totally applicable. It's totally applicable. Yeah.
But what's the buzz you get from actually being in a room with other collectors and handling the merchandise and literally swapping tapes with each other?
It's connection. I think it's just understanding. It's discovery. It's just everybody's in the same realm. Like everybody likes that kind of thing. And there's a lot of movies that are specific to VHS tape, and there's a lot of things that are specific to VHS releases. And it's so fun. It's very energizing. It's very you feel community. You feel like a community space. Just like when you go into a video store, you feel like it's a community space, or like when you go to a party, it feels like a community space, and VHS swaps felt like that. They still do, I mean, I don't know, it's been a while, but
right. Well, the thing I'm
yeah.
always impressed with is just how much knowledge individual dealers have of movies.
Well, we're all nerds, right? I mean, we're all like aficionados of this stuff, and we're all fans. That's why horror cons work and movie cons work and Star Trek cons work, is because it's all people like thinking about the same thing. Like, I love this one thing, and VHS swaps became that thing. They were like, hey, we're all trading tapes and buying tapes and talking about tapes, and like, man, this is a good vibe. This is like the kind of people that I want to be around, and it has, real connection to things you care about, that you're passionate about. So it becomes this gel of a community, in person, which is the most special thing, right? Yeah.
Well, when you got someone who brings all these tapes to an event, first of all, it's a lot of work just to set this up.
Yeah, they're pretty heavy.
Hard all these things.
They can get heavy. Yeah.
And get heavy. But even though they probably have, their most prized tapes at home, they're still basically bringing their collection with them. And you're kind of exposing a lot about yourself when you bring all your collection with you.
I think it really depends on the collector. I think it really depends. Like, do you buy to resell? And I think there's a lot of VHS collectors that buy to resell right now. I think there's a lot of people that do that. But back then, it really was a statement on like what you pick up, like what you think you're going to like. Did you watch this and not like it? Did you not watch this and you haven't watched it in 6 months? You're going to trade it? I mean, like, these are the conversations you would have with people. Like, hey, have you seen this? Like, what is this? Like, what is this release of this? Like, I've never seen this release of Zombie Lake. What is this? And those are the kind of conversations that would persist, and it's really fun. I mean, it is very, very interactive and cool. So.
Well, with each dealer, you always get them at some point, they reveal, that one tape they're looking for and they can never find.
Well, that's what it's about. I mean, like, isn't that great if you can walk into a space with literally thousands of tapes, in a space, and there's like 10 or 12 different people dealing that, and you're like, I'm looking for X tape today. Like, I am looking for Blood Diner, and
Mhm.
there's just going to be like people that have that, and you're like, oh man, I need this tape, and they're like, oh, I just want to trade for that because I really like it. I don't know if I can sell it. And you're
Mhm.
like, come on, man, I'll give you $20. You know, and you're like, $20, you know, in 2011, that was a lot for, you know, any tape. And they're like, well, how about I trade you this copy of, you know, She Freak on something weird. And they're like, oh, that's a pretty good trade. Yeah, I'd trade you that. Like, does that trade hold up? I don't know. But I mean, like, people were doing things like that, and that was really cool. Like
Yeah,
that was the
and
essence of it.
that's the whole spirit of a swap meet too. And the thing people don't realize is, yeah, you have customers coming in, but all the heavy trades happen between the dealers.
I mean, I think heavy trades definitely happen between dealers because they have so many tapes to choose from, you know. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I
I
always love the people coming up to the lunch meet table with like a backpack full of tapes, and you're like, hey man, I really want this, because I was doing new releases, you know, like releasing old films and new films on tape. Like, hey man, I really want this copy of Darktown Shredders that you did. Can I show you what I have for trade? And I'm like, yeah, definitely, show me. You know, I
nice.
definitely pulled some tapes out of people's bags and traded them. So yeah.
Well, let's talk about what all this has done. You know, your magazine, your website, these documentaries. It's kind of shifted now. It's almost like, you know, the next generation creeping in. It's like
Yeah, I
everyone's
feel that.
savvy.
I feel that.
They've bought out the flea markets, the thrift stores. You know, even on Craigslist, it's very hard to find stuff. So, what do you see as the evolution right now? And a big thing now is re-releases, but trying to capture that feel by doing, you know, a limited edition release on VHS. And I know you've been
I
involved
do
with
that.
that.
Yeah, I do that. Yeah.
So what are your thoughts with that? And by the way, I love how when you do a re-release, you do different color videotape shells, or the
Thank
physical
you.
stick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those are fun. So the question is, what is the evolution of this collector culture?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's always been changing. I think people just want. I think there's all different breeds of collectors, right? I mean, there's people that want different things, and I think that will continue to expand. I think people will get fascinations and directions, and like it used to be like, oh, I want all the Midnight videos, or I want all the Donna Michelle videos, or like I love Vestron, you know. But now people are like, I want all the bootlegs from this artist, or like I want all the releases from this label, you know, that's a new label. Like I want all the lunch meat stuff, or like I want all the horror boob stuff, or like I want all the massacre stuff, you know. I think it's a collector mentality, you know, and it's kind of gotten away from films a little bit, but I think that people still want to buy like all the action movies they never heard of, like all the AIP stuff, and people want to buy all the shot on video stuff and all those old shot on video labels that had like 4 releases. And I don't know, it's an intimidating question, kind of, you know.
That's been the big surprise, I think, is the shot on video that's kind of eclipsed those other, you know, like the Lightning and the Wizard video, which were so prized. Now people want, you know, the shot on video, which were the very looked down upon ones. Now they're the ones getting the bigger bucks.
Isn't that ironic? It is ironic.
It is.
Yeah, it is ironic. But they're rare. So these were fully produced independent films that have limited releases, and you always look for the deeper thing. Like I know I do. I know Dan does. I know Matt does. I mean, is Dan from Adjust Your Tracking, Matt from Horror Boobs, and you know, tons of other collectors. You know, I can name a million. You know, not a million, but at least 100 that go after non-scene films, independent shot on video films, and that's the fascination, because what an incredible time to be alive and be a filmmaker, you know, and look at all this incredible stuff people were making. Look at all this stuff that never got a single iota of recognition or a real release. And that's like the excitement that you get when you find a movie that you never heard of at the flea market on VHS is like the excitement that you get now when you find a movie that nobody even knows about on VHS. It's like, this is a shot on video, released like 50 copies. Like, that's so cool. Like, it's so fun and cool, you know, and I want to share that with people, and other people do too, you know. So it's like, this is our culture. This is what we do. So
Well,
I
when you
really
think
hope
about
that.
where
Yeah.
people can source these, because okay, you think of the chains, the blockbusters, a lot of Hollywood. Then you got the mom and pop, a little more eclectic, but then you got the category that was mostly sold through mail order. So you really
Right.
aren't finding those at the mom and pop going out of business sales. And it seems like now it's getting to the point where those mail order only ones are becoming so collectible.
Because they're so rare.
Yeah.
And I have to mention my friend Ross Snyder right now.
Okay.
He does Saturn's Core audio and video. He is so knowledgeable on that kind of stuff. That stuff that was just coming from mail order, and he was there like buying it. He was reading the magazines and looking at those tapes, and he has those. When you look at his collection, you're like, man, dude, like, because they were all print on demand. There was like, oh, somebody wants to buy this. That somebody sent in a mail order. Like, I'm going to dub a copy of this and sell it to you.
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, of course, that stuff's fascinating because there aren't that many copies of it out there. Not many people have seen this. That's what it
No,
is.
those low budget filmmakers would have two VCRs in their apartment. And then when they, get an order, they would take the master artwork to Kinko's and, print off a flyer and kind of put it in the little clamshell kind of, clear plastic thing. And, maybe you're lucky if they had a label on the tape. Half the time they would just mark it in magic marker, the title.
Yeah, it sounds high production, the way you're describing it, but it's not. It really is just independent filmmakers being like taking out an ad in Psychotronic or taking an ad out in a magazine and being like, hey, I have a shot on 16 movie, or I have a shot on 16 short, or a shot on video movie, and you should watch this. And that's how it was distributed. So it's cool to find those real tapes.
So another part of this was, and I can still remember this in the 90s, there are just certain movies there was no way to watch them unless you bought them. And sometimes it would take years to find something, and you would see, like you
Oh
said, a
yeah.
little ad in the back of a magazine. You'd
Yep.
send your 20 or 30 or $50 and cross your fingers, hope you'd get a tape back within 2 months.
I mean, that's a huge investment, but yeah, that was a risk. Sure. Right. I
Yeah.
mean, all that mail order stuff. I mean, am I going to send my money to somewhere in Wisconsin and get this shot on video movie back? I mean, maybe not. You just don't know, but you want to see this movie.
Especially Wisconsin. What a shifty little state.
I don't know why I said Wisconsin, but yeah.
No, I have
sure.
to tease. My parents lived there before I was born.
Oh, that's a good
Now,
connection. I like that.
are you in Pennsylvania?
I was for many years. I'm in North Carolina now because of the Video Vortex.
Oh, with Raleigh. See, when I kind of read the Pennsylvania connection, I pictured you as in some like Children of the Corn kind of Amish kind of little intrigue.
Well, that's where I grew up. Is not the Amish thing, but it was in South Jersey, and it was like a lot of cornfields, a lot of cows, a lot of flat land, a lot of farmland, and it's what you did. You hung out with your friends, and you went to the flea market and bought VHS tapes, and you watched them and just hung out. That was kind of the basicness of what we were doing, and I think that's a lot of people. It's not just me. It's you just lived in a small town, and you got videotapes, and you hung out late night and watched them, or during the day, whenever you wanted to. So.
And in a small town, I bet people rely a lot more on that because their entertainment choices are so limited. And I remember, pre-internet and mega cable, sometimes you'd be in a small town, you couldn't get cable, you'd have like 3 TV stations.
Yeah, I didn't get cable until I was like 13. I was born in 85. So, I mean, you put that in perspective. I mean, I didn't get Nickelodeon or HBO or anything like that until I was about like 10 or 11 or 12. And then I would hang out at the babysitter's house and tape stuff off of HBO, tape stuff off Cinemax, and you would just have a tape that has like Return of the Living Dead, Troll 2, and Weekend at Bernie's. And you're like, I love this tape. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like, this is what I'm watching forever, and then you keep making those tapes, and I don't know. It was a way of life. VHS really was a way of life. You took it for granted, like the grocery store or anything like that,
Well, those do-it-yourself, tapes that you would make off the TV. I was talking to, yeah, you're mentioning Dan Kinham, adjust your tracking. But I was, saying, hey, what do you think are going to be the next collectibles? And obviously, there's lots of nonfiction ones and how-to videos. But
Sure.
he was saying the ones that people recorded off TV are becoming really collectible. Like maybe back in the 80s, you recorded a movie, but you included all the TV commercials because you didn't know how to pause it, and people just wanting to see those TV commercials from the 80s.
Well, I love that notion. I think that's a really good notion. I think that that's stuff that's saved. I mean, like you're capturing video commercials or TV commercials or cable commercials that would not exist elsewhere or otherwise. So, yeah, I mean, I'm going after that stuff. I want to see commercials like that. I want to see local cable commercials. I want to see local TV commercials. I want to see all that stuff. And I think that VHS is the only format that can really preserve things like that, and that's what's really cool. So I believe the collectability about it, and people that want to delve into that kind of culture, VHS is the answer. It's the key. So, I mean, you're not going to go into some building that used to be a news station and take all their master tapes. Like, that's not going to happen, but you could find it on a dubbed VHS tape at a Goodwill that was like dubbed off cable or TV from like 1991 or 87 or something. And you have stuff that probably nobody else really has, because that's a one of one.
Well, it's kind of like a treasure hunt. Say you did buy a VHS tape and maybe on the label, you had it at a thrift store, but in pen, it kind of listed what they watched. But then you'd see like they'd cross it out with pen and like write new things because people like reuse the tapes,
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah.
And you just can only imagine, you buy one of these, box of them at a garage sale that people probably don't even know it's on it. And I'm always saying, oh my God, what if there's like personal stuff on there or, birthday parties that they shot or graduations, but they kind of erased over part of that to, get the Oprah show, recorded. And I think part of that is just the fun of saying, oh my God, there could be anything on these tapes.
Absolutely anything. It could be personal lives and it could be TV. It could be somebody's bar mitzvah, like you said. It could be somebody's birthday. And I think that's what's great. There's such a depth to VHS recordings that I think that people don't think about because everybody just think about pre-records, right? Like these cool tapes that were pre-recorded and distributed. But I mean, I'm fascinated with the stuff that just pops up at a Goodwill in a Goodwill bin. Like it's just like you said, like somebody's birthday or something. I mean, I think it's beautiful. I think it's really cool, and it's a one of one, and it's just cool. It's a cool capture of culture. It's like somebody's journal. It's like a video journal.
Well, you co-wrote a book called "Stuck on VHS: A Visual History of Video Store Stickers."
I did. Yes.
How specific can you get about a collectible or a topic? Video store stickers. Who would have thought? I mean, it's really cool. But who would have thought there were so many that you could actually make a whole book out of that?
Oh, it's completely endless. I mean, I don't think there really is an end to it. I mean, you think about how many video stores and it's crazy. That's why I wanted to do the book. I just wanted to kind of sample it, I mean, my friend Jack Lawrence, yeah.
Yeah, well, we all know, Be Kind, Rewind. Like a lot of them are about rewinding, but what's some of the unexpected stickers that you found?
I saw one, I don't know, I just go through my tapes, and I think it's in the book, but it says handle with care on a VHS tape, which I think is really cool. I love that. I love the melt stickers. Melt stickers are great. But I think the biggest asset that you can find from those stickers is like evidence of actual video stores,
Yeah.
Because that might be the only way you can figure if those video stores existed. So
right, because there's always in some videos there's so many stickers on them. It's like some of these stores went sticker crazy and put so many on the tapes.
Yeah, and they're totally not thinking about it. They're not like, oh, this is an aesthetic piece or something. You're just like, how do I identify this? Like, how do I make this tape mine? And it becomes a work of art. It's pretty cool.
So what was the reception like? I mean, you put this out almost 2 years ago. So
wow,
what was the response? Did you find like any old video stores saying, hey, that was me?
I see people a lot saying, I used to go to this video store, or you get a lot of like heartfelt, warm stories about that kind of stuff. That's been the most rewarding part, when it's like, hey, I used to go to this video store, and this is like near my hometown where I used to live, and thank you for preserving this. And it was really cool to revisit it and just see the sticker, and it brought back so many memories. And I think that's the most special thing, where it's like, oh, they used to go to Jed's video or what have you, and they were like, hey, this was a thing in my life, and thanks for, it was such a treat to like go through this book and see that. So I think that's like the most special thing that happens.
Can you think of anyone yet who's devoted a book to just the old mom and pop video stores?
No. I mean, I guess Stuck on VHS is kind of close, but I mean, we cover big stores too, But no, I mean, like, there should be a complete story. I mean, people are writing complete stories about Blockbuster right now. I'm gonna put that on tape, the last Blockbuster. But no, I would love to see that. I would love to see like the beginning and end of mom and pop video stores, independent video stores, because it was such a life's blood of independent commerce and independent business. It was just really cool. So,
well, that was another big thing I talked with Dan about, and I was saying, oh, when you did your documentary, when you were going across the country in a car and stopping at mom and pop video stores, and some of them open, some going out of business and liquidating. And I think he touched upon that a little bit, but I said, I bet you could make a whole documentary out of that. But the thing is, now that they've closed and people have retired, first, a lot of these moms and pops are probably dying off, because some of this was, going on almost 40 years ago. But, if their store's not there anymore, like, how do you even find them and approach them? But I still think it'd be cool to like sit down with some of these old owners of the stores and just pick their brains for stories of the weird customers and the weird promotional posters and items in the store. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So I'm doing that a little bit. I've delved into the history of Audio Video Plus, which was an independent video store in Texas, the biggest in Texas. And I mean, it's a really fascinating aspect of video culture, because everybody could have a video store. You could have a gas station, you could have a tanning bed, you could have a balloon store, you could have like whatever, and just throw some videos on the shelf, and all of a sudden you have a video rental place. And I think everybody was doing it that was savvy enough to do it, and it really helped a lot of independent business back then.
It did. And what was funny, like you said, a lot of the established stores would tack it on, and sometimes it made sense, like to, the supermarket or the bookstore. But
oh yeah, absolutely.
Other times, it's kind of weird where a little video store would pop up, had no relation to the other business.
I mean, yeah, like tanning beds. I mean, what's the correlation? But I mean, it works. I mean, people come in to get a tan, like, oh, I'm going to take a video home. We're going to go to the gas station. I'm going to take a video home. You go to the grocery store. Oh, here's a video section at the grocery store. Like, it just made sense. Everybody was renting videos. Everybody wanted to take a video home. So,
what's got me is you'd go to the store and you'd see someone with a huge stack of videos, like 8 or 10, and you realize back then most of these, this is in the time when you'd have to return it the next day. It's before Blockbuster said, keep it for 5 days or whatever. And I think, is this person really going to watch 10 videos within 24 hours?
They'd try, for sure. Try to get their money's worth. I would.
Yeah, well, if you're going to pay those hefty rentals, and back then it could have been $5 a tape to rent. They could have been spending, what would that be? $50.
Well, you got to think how much of a treat that was. You had 10 videos at your disposal. That's cool. I mean, we live in a world where you go onto your browser and you can just watch whatever you want. Not really, but they give you a prescribed amount, and you kind of take it for granted. But if you have a stack of 10 tapes in a rental case, like, I want to watch all these. Like, these are the movies that I committed to. And that's part of the magic. It's part of the magic of a video store,
See, this was binge TV And there's some
Mhm.
people now who have been raised on the idea of binge watching TV for the past 10 years. But,
Yeah, it's
back in
given.
the
Yeah.
day, 80s and 90s, a lot of people just thought, oh, I'm going to watch a movie tonight. That was your night. It was a big deal to watch two movies. And
Well,
now,
it's yeah. Yeah.
so why did what shifted in society that suddenly one movie a night is not enough?
Liberty, decision. I mean, choice, I guess is the word I'm looking for. I mean, like, you go on Netflix or Tubi or, whatever streaming service you like, and you have tons of stuff there. But it was like a treat to have 10 videos to watch, 5 videos to watch.
Hmm.
That was it. That was your entertainment for the weekend or for the week. And you're
Hmm.
like, I paid for these, I'm going to watch these. And it seems fairly simple, but I mean, it was much more than that. You know what I mean?
Well, you must be swamped in videos, much more than, just us using the internet and our small collections. I mean, you must just, have access to literally anything. So, for having access to so much, how do you limit what you watch? What still feels special to you to watch?
I love going in my tape room and picking a tape out. I love like browsing my own shelf and being like, hey, do I want to watch this or do I want to watch this again? Or I've never watched this, or it's kind of organic. My friends mention something and they're like, oh, this director. And I'm like, oh man, I think I have something by him. And I go on IMDb and I'm like, oh, I do. I know where that tape is and I want to watch this. Or it kind of all leads into my own collection right now, I think, because I watch a lot of tapes, of course. But yeah, I kind of just navigate it that way. I kind of look at it as looking through my own library. And then if I don't have something that I really want to watch, I'll ask a friend or I'll look for that tape or, something to that effect.
So, how many movies on VHS would you say you own?
Oh boy. Uh,
Over 100?
yeah, like 2,500, 3,000.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's a lot.
A collection.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing it for years. I mean, it's something that I'm passionate about, and I like to watch the stuff I get. I think a lot of people buy tapes, and myself too. I'm guilty of it, but you just buy tapes and you're like, you never watch them, and all of a sudden you have this huge back catalog that you haven't watched yet, and you're like, ooh, I need to dig into this pile that I got from this
Mhm.
person, or like I need to check out this, or like, man, I just really need to watch this, and you just pop it on, you know.
So, what's your go-to tape? Which movie have you watched the most?
The movie that I've watched the most on tape.
Yeah, the one you're going to enjoy that you just every time it satisfies.
My answer is so corny and regular. It's Texas Chainsaw Massacre for sure. I mean, like I love watching the movie on tape.
Hmm.
I have a affinity for that movie. I don't know, like not collector stuff. I mean, like I watch The Sandlot a lot. I watch Willy Wonka a lot. I don't know. Um, I have like 45 tapes just in my room, just sitting there. That a lot of John Ritter stuff. I don't know. We're getting kind of personal. I don't know what to do. I think like
John Ritter from Three's Company.
yes, I love John Ritter. I think he's awesome. Horror movies. I mean, I
Oh
don't know,
yes.
man. I just have such a big collection. I don't know if I have a go to, but I mean, when I was a kid, I watched a lot of cartoons on tape, I guess.
Hmm.
I don't know. Yeah.
Well, I'm liking the variety that you're not just predictable. And I think that's the other cool thing with collectors. We always think, especially a horror VHS collector, just likes the most
No, yeah. No.
salacious, gory, bloody. But, everyone has different moods and wants to watch, movies depending on what mood they're in.
Sure. And I just watch tapes, I mean, you're just talking about a comfort food kind of thing. Like, what's your comfort food when it comes to tapes? And I mean,
Hmm.
I watch Return of the Living Dead a lot.
Nice.
You know, movies that I love.
So you do have mainstream tastes. Everything isn't just totally obscure stuff that you like.
Oh yeah. I mean, I have Tommy Boy on tape. I mean, I have Fast Times at Ridgemont High. I mean, I don't know. I have Ingmar Bergman on videotape. I mean, that's how I watch my Bergman. I watched Seventh Seal. I have like 3 copies of that on tape. I don't know. It's just movies I like. And it's like I don't have any streaming services. I don't subscribe to anything. I think the only thing I really subscribe to is Shudder. Because it's cheap and they have a lot of cool new horror stuff coming out, and that's it leans to my tastes. So
I'm glad you brought up Shudder. We're going to kind of talk about that, and I think you did some kind of partnership, or you had the Shudder triple threat you were selling on your site. Like, what was that all about?
I just licensed some movies from Shudder that I thought should be on tape. Just stuff that would look cool on VHS tape. And when I release stuff on VHS, I wanted to like add to the experience. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I thought Satan's Slaves was perfect. One Cut of the Dead on VHS tape is really cool to me. And obviously Scare Package. Scare Package needs to be on VHS tape. But those are the 3 that I did with Shudder. I did The Ranger, and I did Ranger in 4:3. They were really cool about that. I think it's awesome that they would let their movie be like, reformatted to 4:3 and put out on VHS tape. I thought that was really cool of them. And
was this a mixture of more recent titles and vintage titles? Like what years were these from?
All the Shudder stuff is new.
Okay.
It's all in like the past 5-10 years, 5 years or so. So
okay. So it's kind of like a way to give a newer movie the vintage VHS treatment.
Right. Yeah. So because how stuff looks on tape, if it just has a special aesthetic. And but obviously I go for stuff that's right on VHS tape, quote unquote. Like Creep Tales. I recently did Creep Tales, and that was never released on VHS tape, and it really needed to be. So that's something I went after and wanted to do.
See, isn't that satisfying when you like? And again, I keep going back to Dan, but we talked so recently, and we.
Oh no, yeah.
He's done the similar thing, and he said there's this guy, and by the time he tracked all this down, the filmmaker had died, but he wanted to give this guy's movie, a formal VHS release, which he ended up doing.
Right.
Because he didn't want this movie to be forgotten. It was like almost this mythical movie that I think was shot in his state, and he was really into like locally shot movies.
Right. Yeah. I actually listened to the episode, and he's right. It's cool to give that a platform again.
Is that kind of what motivates you too?
Yeah, it does. It's something that gives films a platform.
Mm-hmm.
It's another way to give a film a platform to watch and to connect with people, and people that want to watch VHS tapes, like, oh, I want to see that on VHS, or maybe they want to have the collectible. I don't know. But yeah, I totally agree with Dan. I think it's a really good notion, to keep something alive on the format that it was supposed to be on, quote unquote. But it does make sense. It makes a lot of sense. So.
Yeah, because I think the company I was first aware of that started doing that was Bleeding Skull.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And
very early. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think part of their thing weren't some of those releases like movies that really had never had a formal release?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're giving them a platform. They're reviving it.
Yeah. And it's pretty
it's beautiful.
lovingly done, because these people, it's kind of like unless somebody really takes a stand and does it, their stuff really could die with them. And this is almost like archiving this stuff for prosperity.
Well, that's absolutely what it is. It's archiving it, and I think you nailed it. It's the right format, it's the right aesthetic, it's the right vision, and it just makes sense. It makes VH sense. I do say that out loud. I don't just
VH sense.
Yeah. I just want to throw that out there.
See, I'm now learning that people who use VHS in clever sayings, like with Dan's site, which I always thought was VHS Hitfest.
Yeah, that's the joke, right? Yeah.
And then I realized, oh no, the S and H meld together. So there's this whole VHS speak,
like an in the know thing. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Well, you've done a couple clever things. Like I always used to think your magazine was just Lunch Meat VHS.
I know. I love that. Yeah, I love that because it's, you can create a brand and you can create like the way you want your brand to be seen, but I call it Lunch Meat, but everybody calls it Lunch Meat VHS. When I get, mentioned places and stuff, because the site is Lunch Meat VHS, but I don't know. It's just something to get something small to get hung up on, but yes, yeah, you attach it to it. Lunch meat's such a generic thing. So
I love it. Well, we're gonna go into our final heat because I know you're a
cool.
busy
Yeah, I'm ready.
man,
I'm ready. Let's
and that
go. I'm
and that it's
charged
a
up.
it's a Friday night where you live.
Yeah, I got a
So
party. I got a party after this. So.
you got a party. But before we go into this heat, first I just want to give you a chance to remind everyone where to find you and Lunch Meat and the stuff you're selling because you got a lot of cool merch on the site.
Thank
So
you. Thank you.
where
Yeah.
do people go to buy this and check all this out?
It's just lunchmeatvhs.com and lunchmeatvhs on all the social media. So that's it.
Excellent. Well, I encourage people to go there and look at the stuff because you love stickers. You got a lot of cool stickers.
I do love VH stickers. I love.
Where
VH
did you get
stickers,
this sticker fetish? What is this?
It's just cheap. It's just cheap and it's fun, and you can put anything you want on a sticker. And I grew up in like a kind of punk rock atmosphere, and what's the cheapest way to get your message out there is just stickers, or flyers, and I think it's fun. I don't know why I'm so attracted to that, but I do a good amount of stickers, and I think when you're just doing your art and stuff, stickers are cheap, so make some cool stickers. So that's what I did.
Oh
Yeah.
my God. Can I share one little subversive sticker story with you?
Yeah, please do. Yeah, I love stickers. Yeah.
Because I was not that rebellious in high school. That I don't think I was pretty by the book. But remember when radio stations used to have stickers? They were usually round.
Yes, the promo stickers for sure.
Yeah, and I don't know, back in like when I was in high school, late 70s, early 80s, everyone put these on their bumpers and on their cars,
Yeah,
you really had to
yeah,
show
yeah.
what
They were
station you
free.
listened
Yeah.
to. And I don't know why, but I think this was like in the era, the disco sucks and the disco backlash and all these heavy metal people are just so down on disco. And I kind of resented that because it's kind of like
Really?
they were
Disco
kind of
sucks.
bullying the cool disco people.
Yeah.
So me and my friends, there's this station in town, and it's more of like an R&B soul, but it's the closest we had at the time that was approached disco.
Yeah.
So we had a whole bunch of stickers from that cool station, and they were around. So we just drive around downtown, and if we saw a car that had sticker with a heavy metal radio station, we just stop the car. One of us would run out and stick the soul radio sticker over the heavy metal.
I love that. Yeah, just do what you want. It's spreading culture, I mean, it's a very visual thing, and I don't know. It's always worked for me. I mean, honestly, like I really like. My friend Matt from Horror Boobs makes fun of me because I make so many stickers. He's like, "Why are you gonna make another sticker?" And I'm like, "Maybe."
Stickers are cool. Yeah, they are. They're actually. I'm sure they're a real collectible too. Don't you think?
I mean, I don't have any stickers from the '80s because I don't know if they held up. But who knows?
Like I bet if from any of these radio stations, especially the ones that don't exist anymore, those old stickers from 40 years ago would be collector's items now.
Well, if I may circle it back to the Stuck on VHS book, is stickers are transient, no matter how well you make them, and documenting all that stuff is really cool to. I mean, think about all the band stickers that have happened from like 2009 to 2020. Like, think about that. Like, think about what are the coolest band stickers? It's an easy way to promote your band or your brand or what you want to say, like even with just sayings or, I mean, even in current climate, you have something you want to say and you can just make a sticker and give it out to people for free. That's something you can give away for free. And I think it's really cool to spread the awareness and the message.
I'm sure it's universal, but I was in this punk rock club in Seattle. And you go into the men's room, and it's just every square inch is covered with band stickers. That's a universal thing in nightclubs, isn't it?
I mean, that speaks to what we're talking about. I mean, like that's free advertisement. You put the sticker in the right place in the bathroom, and holy shit, people know what you are. If you're not too drunk, you can remember what it is. Something like that. Mm-hmm. It's cool.
And when you see them all together, it's like its own artwork. It's like a weird graffiti artwork.
Well, it's absolutely graffiti. It's just a concentrated graffiti. That's all it is.
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, I was taking pictures and I was doing some video project, And which is kind of odd that, I'm taking videos in the men's room, but it was,
That's a different podcast, huh?
that was a different, but this was before the bar opened, we had permission. We were kind of filming a documentary.
Decorating it. Yeah, I get it.
I just remember walking by and saying, "This is so cool, these stickers." I said, "We got to shoot something here." And the guy who was the guy in the documentary, he had like a denim jacket filled with patches and band buttons. You know the look.
Sure, yeah. Same
And
idea, same aspect, yeah.
yeah, and I said, stand against the wall. And it's like, camouflage. It's like you disappear in the wall because you're like a walking billboard for these band stickers and all this.
Yeah, and the billboard thing, I get, that people don't want to wear brands, but I mean, like, do you think that like thrashers and stuff like that wear a lot of pins and wear a lot of patches are trying to be a billboard? No, they're just trying to communicate who they are. They're just trying to communicate like what they're into. And I think that like making stickers gives people an accessible angle to say, hey, I believe this. Like, this is what I think. Like I make stickers. Yeah, skateboard's the same way. Skateboarding culture is the same way because skateboarders are poor. Punks are poor. Like, I guess tape heads used to be poor. I don't know what the prices now, but but
right.
Yeah,
I know it used to be collecting VHS from the thrift store was, the poor man's alternative.
Yeah.
Now you have to be a tech millionaire to afford these tapes. It's crazy. Okay,
we're gonna go. Are strategically buying VHS tapes, man.
I know, instead of buying, Warhol art.
Kind of. I mean, I can see that vibe. I can see that vibe. Yeah.
Okay, last question, because I know you got a jet. You obviously have a better offer than this tonight.
No, I'm having a great time, man. I'm having a great time.
Well, and I hope we get a chance to talk again and have you back on in the future.
I would love that. That'd be beautiful. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, last question, and this is one that Lunch Meat fans want to know. I know you started out magazine. Now you've got the website, which has the blog and lots of cool stuff. Are you going to keep doing the print magazine? Can you still stay alive in print?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the main thing, and I think about this every day, man. I really do. I want to make a print magazine, and my co-founder, Ted Gilbert, and I talk very often about the magazine, and we constantly work with people to make really good pieces, and we want to have the magazine to have a real punch and have stuff that's not available anywhere else, but it's hard because there's so much information everywhere. But I mean, yes, the short answer is yes. I will never stop doing print. I'll never stop doing physical media. I think it's just an essential part of what we're about, and do people still buy magazines? I don't know. I mean, like, we sold out of our last magazine, so that's a good sign, and we're going to make another magazine, and I'm going to keep making books. I'm going to keep making print media, period. And we are working on a new issue right now, so it's going to happen. I mean, we're not going to get 70% through an issue and then stop, and that's where we're at on the new one.
And how many do you put out in a year?
None, zero. I think like the last print issue I put out was 2 years ago.
Okay, so it's just whenever
we can. Yeah. And we try to just create content, we try to ride the wave of how people are consuming content. It's YouTube videos and Instagram feeds and podcasts.
So
yeah, the way people are consuming media now, you have to stay up with that, and you have to be able to give people information the way they're really going to consume it. And are people going to buy a VHS centric magazine? Yes. I mean, and that's why we still produce it. That's why we still want to do it, because we believe in that. We believe in sitting down on your couch and reading articles about VHS tapes,
Mm-hmm. Cool. If you're going to watch physical media, you want to read physical media.
I mean, I think it totally goes hand in hand, literally.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I want to read a physical magazine that excites me. I want to watch physical tapes that excite me. I want to engage with physical media because it's a huge part of why I love VHS and VHS tapes and culture, is because it's real. It's in front of you. You
Do you
know,
ever
and
get
I
into
think
that
it's
thing where you go into eBay and go into a little loop of looking for old, film magazines?
well, yes and no. I think that I have a lot of the magazines that I want because I've been collecting zines for a long time. But there are so many zines out there, just like there is a lot of VHS tapes out there. I mean, you find something you're like, oh my god, I need this. Like this Gore Gazette for $10. I kind of want this. Like you know what I mean. It's something like that. It's like I want
It's a
this.
gateway drug, though. Once you start with that,
Yeah,
you start
yeah.
browsing, and an old Fangoria, and then
It's all on your watch list. Yeah, yeah, for
oh my
sure.
God, you discover the watch list. I discovered that. Oh, and then the save
The watch list is
search.
imperative, my friend. You
Oh my
have to
God.
you have to stay up. You have to stay up and see what stuff's going for, and can you afford this? And
So
it's
how about back issues of Lunch Meat? What's the highest you've seen that go for on eBay?
oh my god, what a funny question. I don't look at it too much, but I do search it maybe once a month to see what's popping. But I don't know, like $40, $30, something like that.
Nice.
Yeah, and
Nice.
but does that really give you a gauge? I don't know. It's very flattering. I
It
think that
is.
so what I really want to do is I don't want to make people pay $40 for an issue.
Oh, no.
I I'm gonna press this new issue, and it's gonna be all new content, obviously, and then I'm going to collect everything we've ever done in the past 12, 13 years, and just put it into a book and put annotations and all kinds of
Nice.
different stories. And I mean, that's the way to go because print media is tough, and
Yeah.
it's just the way of the world now, And you think about it, that's how I really got started. Is
Mhm.
just making a zine, dude. And
So
I want
on your website, I see Strange Tapes zine.
to. Oh yeah,
Is that part of
yes.
your development, or how does that fit in?
He's a brilliant independent artist from Chicago, a good friend of mine, Scott. We're going to be putting out a book in 2021, which I'm really excited about, which does exactly what I was talking about, is collects all his old issues, and it
Mhm.
has annotations and further explanations and further research and stuff. Just this the stuff he's already covered and taking it further and putting it into a book because it deserves it. I mean, it's great coverage. It's singular coverage, VH singular coverage. I did it again, but
VH
it's
singular.
yeah. You can do it with anything else. Strange Tapes, love it. Please check it out. Please, if you like weird videotapes, Strange Tapes has done some amazing work in the past few years. Yes.
There's another thing you do, a funny VHS thing. VHS. I can't remember what it was. See, now you're gonna give me all
I do
night.
all kinds of funny VHS stuff, man. I'm a goof, I'm just trying to have some fun. So
Okay, and the final thing. Well, it seems like everything you're doing now, like with the Strange Tapes and these videos you're putting out. Do you see that you're kind of evolving into a producer or publisher that wants to help other creators preserve their work?
absolutely. I mean, it's kind of like starting a band, and your band does okay, and then your band gets like some pretty good recognition, and you're like, maybe I should just start a label with bands I believe in.
Hmm.
Like I love this band, and to make a metaphor, that's really what it is. I just want to VH support people that are doing the same
VH
thing.
support.
Now I'm doing it again. I can't. I wonder how many people are rolling their eyes at this podcast, but I think it's true. Like it really is. I just want to keep building community. I just want to cultivate it.
Mhm.
I believe in this stuff. When you find someone that really believes in the importance and the fun and the history inside of this stuff, you just want to support it.
Mhm.
And that's all I'm doing. If I can help them grow, if they can help me grow in the same way, like, and get the speak of the culture out there and get the gospel out there, yes, absolutely. I will work with every artist that I admire ever.
Mhm.
Period. You know?
I like that. We need more people like that because, especially the Instagram age,
Oh god.
as soon as it
Oh
kind of
my
feels
god.
like everyone's out to
You're opening
promote
a can of worms
themselves.
right now, brother.
I know, and that's why it's so refreshing when you find someone like you, Josh Schaefer, that wants to promote someone else.
Well, I mean, it's not about me. It's not about lunch meat. It's about tapes. It's about. It was never been about a brand or never been about like a single voice. It's about everyone, and I really believe that. It's about like people that are really like, let's bring up Dan again, who have dedicated a lot of their life to try to uncover VHS history. And I mean, it wasn't a thing years ago, like you said, like you're talking about like what happened in 2008, what happened in 2010. Like this
Hmm.
is what happened, and this is the result. And it's so cool. It's so cool to be able to have conversations with people like you or like anybody else that are actually interested in VHS culture. Because I don't think VHS culture was really a pronounced thing
Hmm.
until about a few years ago. Like, I mean, seriously, it wasn't. And
Right.
I mean, maybe like underground people that are trying to get a copy of Eraserhead, 20
Hmm.
years ago, and they're paying like, their whole paycheck to get that. Like, it just shows the
I-
devotion,
the devotions kind of come up with the reappreciation of vinyl records.
Yeah, I always hear this, and I'm always trying to find a good answer to this, but it's just a different aesthetic. It's a different like
Right.
fi,
It is.
like when you. I mean, I used to have a record label too, and I worked for a record label for many years, and you put stuff on vinyl either because it's not available or because it's hi-fi, because you want this different experience. And VHS is lo-fi. It's a
Mhm.
very distinct, defined aesthetic, and it's a very distinct experience. And if people can dig that, then they can get into the culture, and then if you get into that gateway, it gives you so much content. It gives you this incredible spectrum of content. So
And it's a commitment. First, you have to own a VCR and maintain them.
it's getting harder. Yeah, it's getting harder to
And, and
VCR,
let me
sure.
tell you, modern TVs do not make it easy to hook your VC up to these big flat screen
Yeah, well, I
TVs.
mean, it's obsolete now. I mean, I had a really close friend of mine that I work with often. He's like, "Dude, I just bought a new TV, and there's no RCA." And I was like, well, that's weird. How about a coaxial? And he was like, yes, I do have that. And I was like, just hook up your VCR through a coaxial cable.
Hmm. That was a rude awakening. The first when I upgraded to a modern TV, which kind of showed me how unmodern I was. Thinking, "Wow,
Yeah,
maybe I shouldn't have
it's
upgraded. I should
shocking.
have
It's
kept the
kind of
crappy
shocking. Yeah.
one."
I
Yeah,
mean,
and I think
it's not so shocking. It's just, it's like, holy shit. It's like when you like, go into your fridge and there's like nothing in there. You're like, wow, I need to go shopping. Like, I need to fix this.
well, here's what's funny about the thrift stores. You can still find VCRs, but boy, they jacked up the
Hmm.
price of a lot of them.
Yeah, well, of
But
course. I mean, they're
but
becoming rare objects, dude.
but you can't find an old TV anymore with the proper
No, I
connectors. You
don't
can't find
believe
any old
that. I
TVs.
don't believe that. I see CRTs everywhere, and nobody wants them because they're so
You
heavy.
do.
Because they're so
I'm thinking of
burdensome.
the tube TVs. You ever see a tube
Yeah, like
TV?
CRTs. I mean, tube TVs. No, like with the wood base and everything. No way. But I
That'd
see
be
like
see.
I see Sony's and RCA's and Panasonics from like the mid '90s, late '90s. I see them all the time for sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, I think maybe in my neck of the woods, a lot of thrift stores aren't even taking those
Sure. Well, it's
anymore.
all regional. It's
Yeah.
about what people throw out and where you're looking for them. And
But
Craigslist is a good thing.
there's something about a big wood cabinet TV where the VCR was so sturdy right on top.
Yeah, I mean that's the classic setup, right? That's what everybody wants. I think people aim to recreate that experience.
Absolutely. Okay, this is for sure the final question. So when is Shudder going to give you your own TV show?
Uh, d- Email Shutter and tell them that you want it, please, because I will do it right away.
Well, you know that one little thing they have there where it's like they kind of act like the guy's doing the video store and he's recommending movies to the
Sure.
guy that
Yeah.
walks in.
Yeah, is that Scare
But
Package? That movie?
yeah, that one. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
But they actually the thing I like most about Shudder is their like documentary or talk show,
But
the
they already got
non-movie
that, Kelly.
stuff.
They already got Joe Bob. I mean,
You
I'm
can never
not gonna
have too
top Joe.
much of that.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm not gonna
Can
even
never have
mess
too
with that
much of that.
realm. I mean, Joe Bob rules. So I mean, he's
But you could always do it from a different angle, the collector angle. I mean, Joe Bob will always be Joe Bob, but you've got your own special angles that I don't think they're totally covering yet.
well, everything takes time, and that's really flattering. And I have characters that I would love to employ to host a show. It wouldn't just be me; it would be a character. So, and I would hope
Like
to do
a
something like
traditional,
that.
like a horror host kind of thing.
Of course, I mean, I would love to do that. I would love to. I would love to employ some kind of conceit like that, and just have a lot of fun and get people to watch more VHS tapes. Man, I mean, it would be a dream come true if something like that happened. So.
So you'd be like the modern day Armando Creeper.
Yeah, I mean, or Gouliardi, or Zachary, or all the bigs, Elvira, all the greats.
Oh my! You know what I just found on YouTube? Elvira made a pilot for a sitcom back, I think, in the
Yeah.
early '90s.
Yes. Yep.
Have you seen that?
No, it's just I have not seen it, but it makes a lot of sense. I'm sorry. I
Oh
haven't
my
seen
God,
it.
it
I
was
should.
so funny, and people were saying how ahead of her time Elvira was with her humor.
I mean, she's so ahead of her time. She's still a giant. She is still one of the most influential, probably the most influential horror host as far as fame that there ever
Yeah.
was. I mean, because you look at the other people, and I mentioned them like Gouliardi and Zachary, and but Gouliardi. Sorry, I keep saying that wrong. But yeah, dude. I mean, she's amazing. Please, she can still do it. She still looks great.
She does, and she comes to the convention. She's great with the fans. So, what would your horror host name be? You got to have a cool name.
Well, I do a vampire character. Got to go classic. Got to go cheesy. I'm Count Joshua is what I would be.
Clever.
Yeah, well, it works. You should see the character. It's pretty funny.
Well, I will keep my eye out for that. I really appreciate you talking. We could probably talk for maybe not 5 hours like Dan Kinham. That's the current record.
Yeah, it is a record. It's got to be.
But I'll just say this is a good part 1, and hopefully down the line we'll get a soon part 2. How's that? How about a VH soon part 2?
How about a VH sequel? You want to do that?
There you go. All right. Well, his name is Josh Schaefer. He is the evil genius behind Lunch Meat magazine and all sorts of other good stuff. So really appreciate it, Josh. And you take care and have a great weekend.
It was an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. I hope to be back soon.
Ha ha ha!